Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Sportsmemo's College Football Forecast. My friends, we come at you every Thursday during the college football campaign. We're going to bring you tons of free winners, amazing betting insights, and a few laughs, too, from some of Sports Memo's documented leaderboard fixtures. So grab that helmet, lace up those cleats, and get ready to make some money in college football. When? This weekend. Today, we have an amazing show for you. Let's bring on the panel. Let's bring them on. We got a good-looking panel for you, some documented leaderboard fixtures at Sports Memo, Mr. Dan Kaiser and Jesse Schule. Let's start with Dan. Dan, good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing good. Doing good. Long time no see.
Guys, Dan and I woke up together this morning. No, we're not seeing each other. We live in two different states. But Dan and I did the first family show this morning. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Gave out some great content. So it is good to see you again, Dan. And I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about this week's roundtable games and your best bet segments, because you are killing it in college football. Let's go to one of my best friends in the world, let alone in this business, Jesse Schule. Jesse, how are you doing today?
Feeling good. Happy to be here. Excited about college football.
Jesse, you look like you were in like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, because that whole crew was from Southie in Boston. You got your Boston pea cap on. You're looking sharp today. I love it. You're always looking sharp. And guys, you know, Jesse is also one of the greatest starts I've ever seen in both college and pro football. So we're very excited to have Jesse here today. A couple quickies, and who doesn't like an afternoon quickie? I've been married for 22 years. I love an afternoon quickie, guys. Hit that subscribe button, guys. You don't want to miss any of Sports Memo TV's content. Other than that, guys, I want you to know about all of our content, because we got the best content in the industry on Sports Memo TV. Monday through Thursday, we have the first Family of Las Vegas show going 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. We have the MLB Full Count show coming to you through the World Series. And guys, I want you to know, stringent upon the baseball schedule each week, so it's going to be changing. We're going to keep you abreast of when the Full Count show is going to go, because I know you don't want to miss any of that. We got the best baseball cappers in the business, guys. Thursday, we do this show in the afternoon. Also, our good buddy, Dan Alexander, he comes at you Tuesdays and Thursdays with the Sports Memo Today show. Friday morning, the family affairs go. Ralph and Jeff Michaels join Joe and Dion D'Amico. 4 family members, 1 panel. You never know what to expect there. And Friday afternoon, obviously, we do our NFL football forecast show. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, because you don't want to miss any of our sports betting content here at Sports Memo TV. And guys, I got to tell you, every single successful sports bettor and sports handicapper I know, you know what they use? They use the Gold Sheet, the oldest and most respected sports betting newsletter. So after the show, go to www.goldsheet.com and use what the pros use. You'll see some graphics during the show also. They're courtesy of our good friends over at the Gold Sheet. Now, guys, the customer appreciation of Sports Memo, unrivaled. We know that saving you money just as good as making you money, guys. Hello. So go after the show, sportsmemo.com. Take advantage of those amazing discounts. We got a nice one that they put up. You know, every day, we as handicappers and contributors at Sports Memo, we get surprised by our great crew in Detroit. We got the best support staff in the world. Hey, guys, Detroit Rock City, we love you. Guys, this week we have a $10 off any purchase of $25 or more. Use code MEMO10 upon checkout. And every day, go over to the deals page at Sports Memo. Guys, I'm going to tell you now, we got some amazing discounts and savings there for all your favorite cappers over at Sports Memo. Before we get into free plays from some of let's try that again, those Hooked on Phonics books. I'm so excited to be here with Jesse and Dan that I'm going too fast, even for myself, just like my wedding night, guys. Before we get into free plays, we have some college football line movements this week from our good friends at my favorite book in the world, the Superbook at the Westgate. I want to make you aware of a couple of these, and we're going to put them up for you as well. Guys, every week we know that the lines move in college football. They move because the general public moves them. They move because of weather conditions. They move because of injuries. That's all it give me. But these are a couple of line movements that specifically moved because of the smart money, the sharp money, the wise guys here in Vegas, and my good friends at the Superbook, and Jesse, Dan, and myself. We wanted to make you aware of them. First of all, Virginia went from 4 down to 3, so they're playing Louisville here strong. It's around the hot number. They moved it from 4 down to 3. Amazing, amazing, amazing. South Carolina from 10 down to 5.5. 4.5 points just off the smart money moves, guys. 4.5 point movement playing Kentucky, guys. I love it, love it, love it. Boise State, 6.5 up to 7.5 on that number. Those are 3 smart money line movements, courtesy of our friends at the Superbook here in Vegas. So now, guys, without any further ado, we have 3 roundtable games. I'm very excited about this week's roundtable games. I'll tell you why. Because, first couple of weeks of the season, we see, some non-conference contests. And then we see, where like some of the better teams in the conference play like teams that, that aren't so great. Now this is where the rubber meets the road as soon as we get hit, October, and we get some better and more competitive matchups. So I'm very excited about this. Let's go to our first roundtable game, guys. A Big 12 showdown, 2 undefeated teams. Lawrence, Kansas, great place to watch a game. Not a great place to live, but a great place to watch a game. Jayhawks ranked for the first time in 12 years. 12 years this month. Excuse me, 13 years. They host a Horned Frog team. They have lost to the last 3 years by a combined 132-65. Get this, both teams are a combined 9-0 against the number so far this season. Something's got to give here. So we're talking TCU, Kansas, Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Horned Frogs are 6.5, 69. Guys, I got the floor. Let me lead off with this one. Very excited. Folks, these two teams are nearly mirror images of one another statistically. Both can score a ton of points. Both defenses playing pretty solid overall so far. Both can run the ball with enormous success. However, the TCU passing game is significantly, and I mean significantly, stronger. On paper, the Horned Frogs look like the play here. My friends, college football is not played on paper. It's played on the gridiron. And it's hard to go against the trend that the Jayhawks have covered 8 straight games coming into this matchup. They're also 5-0 ATS the last 5 against Big 12 opponents, 4-0 ATS the last 4 at home. Meanwhile, guys, let's face it, TCU gets a tad bit overvalued in the start of the season, particularly when playing within the conference. They're 7-17 against the number. The last 24 games played in the month of October, and 2-6 ATS, the last 8 in conference play. I feel this game is going to be a lot closer than the point spread. That's why I'm siding with a small lean on the doggy here. Woof, woof, to take a bite out of the favorite. I like the dog in this one. Having said that, guys, I'm telling you right now, I'm so excited. I'm revved up and raring to go because we've got Dan Kaiser, we've got Jesse Schule. Here are 2 of my favorite people and 2 documented leaderboard fixtures over at Sportsmemo. Let's go to him. He's one of the sharpest minds in college football today. Dan Kaiser. Dan, I need to know your take. TCU, Kansas, Horned Frog, 6.5, 69. It's all you, buddy.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, before the season started, who would have thought you'd have an undefeated 17th ranked TCU Horned Frogs against an undefeated 19th ranked Kansas? To be honest, I didn't see this coming. And not only that, College game day is coming to Lawrence for the first time in school history, so they got that going for them also. I'm looking at this game, like you said, Joe. TCU can run the ball. They're 6th in the nation in rushing at 251 yards a game. But they, as you said, they can pass the ball. They're 21st in passing. Their offense has put up 48 points a game, which is 3rd in the country, and their defense has only given up 22 points, which is 48. Basically, this team has looked really good with Max Duggan coming in as quarterback as he replaced the starter that was injured. He gives them more of a more of a threat, both running and passing. He's got 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. On this Kansas side, again, this is as you said, this is first the most wins they've had in the season going back to 2009. I think they've already cashed the over bet for the year for the games total. So yeah, they're really good. But the thing about them, they are very good on the ground, but they're not good in the air. They only pass. They're 105th in the country in passing offense at just a little over 200 yards a game. You gave a good stat about how many they won ATS, but Joe, sometimes all good things must come to an end. TCU has dominated offensively, beating everybody by at least 38 points. I think this offense is just too much for Kansas to handle for 4 quarters. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go against you in this one, and I'm taking TCU minus the 6.5.
Dan Kaiser, who is one of the sharpest minds in college football today, is going against your sexy and savory. Guys, he says TCU. And guys, I want you to know, this is why Sportsmemo is unrivaled in this business, because we don't have cookie cutouts of one another capper, just regurgitating what the last guy said. We have 2 documented winners in me and Dan, but we have different angles on this game. And that's what we want to bring you here. We just don't want to, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. We want to give you the best there is, because both guys like Dan, Jesse, myself, all 3 of us, we can look at a specific game and have 3 different angles. I could like one side, Dan could like another, Jesse could like a total, so to speak. And that's why we want you to go over to Sportsmemo after the show, because if Jesse, Dan, and myself isn't tailor-made for you, somebody is. We have the best collection of cappers on the planet. Guys, by the way, I want to talk to our producer, Chris, after the show. I want to start getting, like, music tailor-made for each capper. So me, we could work that out. Dan, we could end the fight song from Michigan State. But Jesse, we got to get Jesse's yo. We got to get, I wish that I had Jesse's yo as soon as Jesse comes on. Guys, Jesse Schule is off to one of the greatest starts I have ever seen in a pro football and a college football combined situation. He is killing it. You know, we've seen him wear the Mr. Perfect outfit because he's been perfect several times this season over entire weekends, but he is killing it both in the collegiate and the professional levels. He is going to tell you his take. TCU, Kansas, Horned Frog, 6.5, 69. Jesse, it's all you.
I am excited about this game, Joe. I'm even more excited now that I know that Dan likes TCU and you like Kansas, and I get a chance to be the tiebreaker. And I guess you could say that it's a letdown spot for both of these teams. Of course, TCU coming off that massive win over Oklahoma, you could say that sets them up for the letdown spot. But Kansas hitting the top 25 rankings for the first time in a long time, and the college football game day arriving in Lawrence, you know, they could be due for a letdown too. But let's look at the history. Joe, you mentioned that Kansas is covered in 8 straight games. I believe one of those games was late last season at TCU. The Horned Frogs won, but 31-28, pretty close score. Max Dugan threw for 166 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, 10 of 16 passing. Jalen Daniels threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 22 of 30 passing. The idea that TCU is vastly superior to this Kansas team, I've heard that said over and over again all week long. I'm not sure I'm buying it. We saw hints last year at the end of the year that Kansas was going to come on. And when you look at who they've played, it's really difficult for me to buy into the fact that Kansas is just going to fade into the night and lose the rest of their games. During their winning streak, West Virginia, Houston, Duke, Iowa State. I mean, they've been playing decent teams, and they've been highly competitive and beating them all, of course. TCU's last road game was a 42-34 win over SMU, and with SMU just losing to Central Florida, that doesn't look that impressive anymore. Jalen Daniels is ranked number 1 in the country in quarterback rating. Kansas is well coached. They're eager to continue to win games. I like their heart, their grit, the way they play. If you're giving me 6.5 points, I got to take Kansas here.
Wow. Great minds think alike, guys. All right. Jesse the Body Schule off to a great start in both college and pro football since he likes Jayhawks. It's a 2-on-1. And by the way, guys, here in Vegas, you pay extra for that. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, Chris. Guys, so both Joe and Jesse like the Jayhawks. Dan likes TCU. I could feel a dinner bet coming on. But Dan, I'm going to tell you now, if we win that bet, you better bring your piggy bank. Jesse and I can eat. I'll tell you that. Sports fans, we have 2 more roundtable games before our best bet segment. Our second roundtable game, I think, is one of the most exciting games on the board this week, with 5 representatives ranked in the top 25 from where? The Pac-12 is a true force to be reckoned with. Big matchup with serious implications. Utah, UCLA. The Utes have dominated, winning and covering 5 in a row in this series. Let's look at the line here. You know, I want to see if that hook scares either Dan or Jesse. I know I have an opinion on this game. The line is 3.5 and a total of 64. This game is being played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's start with Danny K.O., Danny Boy, Dan Kaiser. We want your take. Utah, UCLA, the Utes are 3.5, 64. It's all you.
Yeah, as you said, Joe, Utah's won 5 straight over the Bruins. Last year, Utah took care of them 44-24 as a 6.5-point favorite. Utah comes in ranked 11th in the nation, won 4 in a row, and you know they're 1 bad pass away from being undefeated and you know probably ranked in the top 5. This UCLA team has been kind of a bit of a surprise. They've coming off a nice win over Washington, 40-32 as a 2.5-point underdog. They were all big in that game and they had to hold on late, but a win, as they say, a win's a win. And UCLA's on a nice little run here. They've won 8 straight going back to last season. I just look at this game. I've always liked Utah. They're pretty balanced on offense. They're great on defense. I think UCLA is going to have trouble protecting the quarterback and dealing with Utah's defensive front. I think the Utah secondary is capable of handling, not shutting down, but at least handling the Bruins receiving core. I'm looking at this game, and I know the line's 3.5. To be honest, I like Utah, but I'd probably bet it down. I'd probably buy it down to 3 because I think it's going to be that close a game. But I think Utah will come out on top.
Sports fans, Dan Kaiser, one of the best I've ever seen in college football, says he likes Utah, but he would err on the side of caution, buy it down because it does have that hook on it. Go to 3 with it. Dan, great stuff. It's what we've come to expect from you. Thank you very much. By the way, Dan says he likes Utah. Ask Dan why. He's been married 26 times in his life. He loves having multiple wives. Just kidding, Dan. I love you. Let's go over to my good friend Jesse. Chris is just shaking his head, our producer in the background. Let's go to our good friend Jesse Schule. Jesse, this is a very, very exciting game. The Pac-12 is really – they've come out the first month of the season or so, and they've shown that they are a force to be reckoned with. I mentioned during prefacing this roundtable game that 5 representatives from the Pac-12 in the top 25 right now. Got some really good teams here, and something's got to give sooner or later. Let's go to Jesse Schule. Utah, UCLA, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern. The Utes, 3.5, 64. Take it away.
Well, Joe, I think we know who Utah is. Utah is a proven commodity. The Utes are the defending Pac-12 champs. As Dan mentioned, they were one bad pass away from being 5-0 and en route to the potential college football playoffs. They've since won 4 straight after that loss at Florida. All 4 of those wins by 20-plus points. During that run, Cam Rising, 12 touchdowns, just 1 pick. And they're matched up against a UCLA team that I think they're not a proven commodity. I mean, they're coming off a decent win over Washington. But aside from that game, they haven't played anybody. They rank 129th nationally in strength of schedule. And to put that in perspective, UC Davis has a stronger strength of schedule than UCLA. UC Davis is not even a Division I team. I think this is a great matchup for Utah stylistically. I think they have all the tools to play the kind of game that's going to frustrate UCLA. I think they can control the clock, keep that UCLA defense on the field, and keep that offense on the sidelines. And I think that they will win this game comfortably.
Sports fans, Jesse Schule, he's hot as a firecracker in both college and pro football over Sportsmemo. He says Utah wins the game comfortably, and he actually used the word stylistically. Never heard that in a breakdown. I love you, Jesse. It's great stuff. Guys, I'm going to take the floor on this game. Guys, Dan and Jesse really they had great angles on this matchup, and I find this to be one of the most exciting matchups on the board. And I really am a big fan of the Pac-12, maybe because I live in Vegas for 32 years and I get to see this team close up. So let me start by saying this. 2 of the most exciting athletes in the nation, guys, they both line up in the same backfield. Yes, I'm talking about DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and running back Zach Charbonnet, or Charbonnet, depending on what side of the Mason-Dixon line you live on. That's true. Chris is laughing again. These 2 guys are putting up numbers like that we have not seen in years for the Bruins. They're a huge part of the reason why this team is 5-0. As far as Utah goes, I feel, in my opinion, that a loss can make a good team a great team. The Utes open up the season with a heartbreaking defeat. Where? In the swamp against Florida. And since then, they've rattled off 4 consecutive wins, and more importantly for our purposes, 4 consecutive covers. Both teams have had their pushover opponents so far this season for sure. We're not going to argue that. But with UCLA taking down Washington a week ago, it did show us just how good this team really is. However, it's very hard to ignore the fact that the Utah stop unit is the real deal. Not only do they allow just 14.4 points per game, but they've also grabbed 9 turnovers already. To me, it's going to be the turnovers that signifies who wins this game. It's going to be a huge part of which team wins the contest, guys. The Bruins, they pretty darn good as well, but let's not forget they did allow the Jaguars of South Alabama to put up 31 on them, and last week the Huskies lit them up for 32. Utah has won and covered 5 straight meetings in the series, and I think you're going to see the trend continue. The Utes, guys, they can't be rattled. They're 6-0 against the number of the last 6 games played against teams with a winning record, 18-5 against the number of the last 23 games played following a straight-up win, and 34-16-1 against the number of the last 51 played where? against Pac-12 opponents. This line doesn't scare me one bit. I do understand, and I do see the smart side that Dan mentioned. He'd buy it down. I'm not afraid of it. I don't care if it goes to 4. I'm still laying the 1, and I'm going to win with Utah. And if you follow me, you will too. We're throwing that piece of paper in the air. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have another round table game. We've got our best bet segment. Guys, by the way, how about those great graphics from our friends over at the Gold Sheet? I will tell you, it is the oldest and most respected newsletter in the sports betting business. www.goldsheet.com. Go over there after the show. I'm going to tell you now. Buy a week if you want. You'll go back for a longer stay. Guys, we got a third round table game. I love Jesse and Dan, man. They're two of my favorite people on the planet, as entertaining as they are informative. Our third round table game, 2 ACC squads, both sitting at 4-1 overall, but both already claiming conference losses this early in the campaign. The Wolfpack have covered 8 of the last 10 meetings in this series. This is an interesting matchup. Now, this game, although it's on a hot number, you ain't got to worry about that hook one side or the other. Florida State at NC State, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The Wolfpack, minus 350.5. You know what? Let's go to the body himself, the Iceman, Jesse Schule. Jesse, take it away.
Well, Joe, there's a lot of talk about a letdown spot for the Wolfpack because they did come into the season fancying themselves as a contender, not only to win the ACC, but to potentially make a college football playoff appearance. That's unlikely to happen at this point after losing to Clemson. However, that could be a potential letdown spot for them. However, you look at Florida State, and they're coming off a double-digit loss at home to Wake Forest, and that's a letdown spot for them as well. I believe they were undefeated. They lose at home to Wake. That's going to cool them off a little bit. But more importantly is the injuries suffered by Florida State. They're pretty banged up, and I've got a list here of guys. Defensive end, Jarrett Verse. Defensive tackle, Fabian Lovett. Left tackle, Robert Scott. And the quarterback, we all know, Jordan Travis. He's wearing a knee brace, not 100%. Some of those players may play. I'm sure Jordan Travis is going to play, but all banged up. And that offensive and defensive line being banged up is not a recipe for success. History does favor the home team here. Florida State is 1-9-1 against the spread in their last 11 at Raleigh. They're 3-17-1 in their last 21 versus the Wolfpack overall. I believe the Wolfpack are the more experienced, more talented team with a better defense, and they should win this game at home and cover the 3 points.
Jesse the Body Schule sporting his Southie P cap. You're looking sharp, Jesse. He says the Wolfpack. And he likes their defense. They're a little more solid. Great breakdown, great analysis, Jesse. You always bring it. Thank you for that. You know what? I'm going to take over right now. So adjust the volume again. Put the cotton back in your ears, guys. My friends, both Florida State and NC State come off their first loss of the season. And I will tell you, if these two teams weren't facing each other this week, I would look to bet both of them in a bounce-back mode. But they are playing each other, so that changed a few things. Both offenses are pretty darn good. I would definitely say, without a doubt, the Seminoles possess some of the bigger playmakers on their offensive unit. But it's hard to buck the Wolfpack's ferocious defense. My buddy Jesse just talked about them a few times. They're equally tough against the pass and the run, and let's face it, they wreak a lot of havoc against quarterbacks and create turnovers. They've already grabbed 7 turnovers thus far in 2022. My own personal number on this game is closer to 5.5 and even 6 on my power ratings. I do 2 sets. Florida State 1-9-1 ATS the last 11 meetings at NC State. This team certainly has some issues covering the number on the road. For that reason, I would put a small lean on the home team here, which is 12-4 ATS the last 16 at Carter Finley Stadium. But earlier today, I did see a 3.5 on this game and went to 3. When I was preparing, I said buy it down to 3. If it does fly back up, I would buy it down. I don't want to get hooked on this one. I'm not as confident in this play as I was in the Utah-UCLA game. Take the pack and fill the crack, guys. It's a winner. So far, guys, Jesse and I have agreed on this game. We agreed on Utah, and we agreed on the Jayhawks. Great minds think alike. I want to go to my good buddy, Dan Kaiser. You know, I talk about Dan a lot, and I know we normally do in the Best Bet segment, I do a little more promoting, but I am honored to be on a panel with Jesse and Dan. Jesse, you know, I talk about him every day. We do a lot of shows here at Sportsmemo TV. Dan Kaiser hit the ground running over at Sportsmemo when he came here a few months ago. As I gotta tell you, over the years, numbers don't lie. Over the years, one of the best I've ever seen in college football. Let's go to Mr. Dan Kaiser, old Danny boy, Florida State, NC State, Saturday, 8 p.m. Wolfpack, 3-50.5. It's all you, buddy.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I'll keep this short since you guys pretty much covered everything I had written down. But I may already owe you guys one dinner, so I'm not gonna press my luck and make it two. I do like NC State in this one. A couple things you guys didn't mention with all the stuff you did. The NC State is 12-4 against the spread in the last 16 home games. They're 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games following a ATS loss. And the only thing about the Wolfpack is they've had an easier schedule and they haven't been very good against the spread, going 1-4. But as you said, Florida State is just banged up right now, especially on the defense. I think NC State just has a little bit too much offense for them in this one. And I'd agree with you guys. Take the Wolfpack minus the 3 and cash later.
You're muted, Joe.
See that again? I even mute myself. My voice annoys me so much. Guys, our good buddy Dan Kaiser said he likes the Wolfpack too, so that was unanimous. And if you're a little dyslexic, that's anonymous over on this roundtable game. Dan Kaiser's doing great work over at Sportsmemo, a leaderboard fixture there. So, guys, let me just run down the roundtable games real quick. First segment, Jesse and Joe D'Amico said the Jayhawks. Dan says TCU. Second segment, we all agreed on Utah one way or another. One of us said to buy it down. And on the third roundtable game, the Wolfpack. Guys, great minds think alike today. I will tell you guys, I wouldn't put it past either Jesse, Dan, or myself to have any one of these games or more than one of these games put up maybe as a premium play later on. We'll see how these lines, because these 3 numbers, they're all around hot numbers. We'll see where they go. By the end of the day, you might see them as premium plays for one of us or maybe more of us over at Sports Memo. Guys, don't go anywhere. Wherever, best bet segment, most exciting portion of the show, I feel. Let me take the lead here. So, guys, put the cotton back in the ears because I'm very, very excited. And I'm going to be a little long-winded here. I know it's new territory for Joe D'Amico. But, my friends, I currently have a few big game winners already posted over at Sports Memo. For tonight, I have my AFC total of the month already up. This is the highest rated total I've released so far in the NFL campaign on Losing College Football Show. But there's a big NFL release for me tonight. I don't release a lot of totals when I do their money. I already put up tomorrow night's Mountain West Conference Moneymaker release. Guys, I own the Mountain West. I know this conference. I see it every day. I lived in Vegas for 32 years, and I get I don't want to say I get inside information. I don't, but I hear things from the grapevine around the horn with the Mountain West when it comes to injuries and whatnot. I know this conference. I've been successful in this conference. So that's Thursday and Friday big game winners already posted at Sports Memo. This is one way to ensure yourself some winners and go into the weekend with a bankroll. I'm going to also let you behind the curtain, guys. Last weekend, I put up 2 games of the month. They both won. All right, both Saturday college football games. This weekend, I'm going to have at least 2 games of the month, 1 college, 1 pro. As of right now, there might be more. And I may have a game of the year situation going as well. And that may be a 10-unit play, as you know. The best big game hunt on the planet, 16-1 in 2022 in 10% plays. So, guys, I'll tell you right now, if you don't follow me here this weekend, you're going to kick yourself in the ass on Monday. And if you do follow me, you're not only going to follow me to the bank, you know what you do? You're going to own the friggin' bank. Now let's go to my round table game, my best bet game. And this is a big breakdown because there's a lot to talk about in this game. If it's all right with our producer, Chris. Yeah, I know I said ass and all this stuff. I curse all the time. I'm sorry, Chris. I can't help myself. I'm so excited about this. When I get excited, I talk dirty. Just ask my wife. Now, guys, for my best bet on this week's show, Chris is laughing. Let's go to a matchup between a team who is really underwhelming and a team that ranks number 1 in the nation. Yes, we're talking about Texas A&M going to Bryant-Denny Stadium to face the Tide. Obviously, the big news into Tide week is if Crimson Tide quarterback Bryce Young is going to play. Reports over the last day are that he has practiced and he's looked pretty strong. Now, officially, they're not going to release it just yet. And as of this show, we don't know yet. So if he plays great, if he doesn't, remember one thing. The Crimson Tide is stacked at key positions higher than the pancakes at your favorite breakfast joint, guys. They are loaded at key positions. All right. Jalen Milroe, I love that kid's name, is a very good quarterback. He's the backup for the number 1 team in the nation. He was a great high school star. All right. The only difference is he has less experience at this level. That's all. Don't overthink this, guys. Just between us, guys. I'm 53 years old, and although I was an all-state quarterback in high school a million years ago, I'm still 5'6", and I can still step in and lead the Crimson Tide to a victory here against this overrated Texas A&M team. I hate this team. I really do, because I had high hopes for them, and I pooped the bed with them in the first 2 weeks. So I'm looking for some vengeance, but that doesn't blind the way I look at this game. So honestly, guys, over the last several weeks, we've seen Georgia leapfrog Bama in the rankings when they had a better performance on a game day than last week. The Crimson Tide had a stronger performance. And guess what? They took over and reclaimed the number one spot. Having said that, Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban does not want to relinquish that top spot in the polls. He knows that he's coming up against some good conference opponents, and he needs to keep his foot where? On the gas. Offensively, Bama, although has a very strong passing game, guys, they more depend on the rushing attack. They currently rank 7th in the nation. They average over 250 yards per game on the ground. Not only that, but they don't make any mistakes offensively. All right? They don't turn the ball over. They've had one turnover so far this season. Believe me, if Young does not play, the game plan will be to run the ball, pass off the run, and most importantly, they're going to have this Milroe kid tuck the ball or throw it out if he doesn't have an out. I'm going to tell you that right now. As you all know, A&M was a preseason dark horse to make the college football playoff, and after 5 games, they sit at a disappointing 3-2 with a lackluster offense that is accounting for just 21.8 a game. They rank 100th or worse in just about every major offensive category. They have to line up against one of the nastiest and stingiest defenses in the nation. The Tide only allow about 11 points per game, and they rank in the top 10 in every major defensive category. Trust me when I tell you, it's going to be a long, long day for the Aggies here. A&M comes off a 42-24 spanking at the hands of Mississippi State a week ago, a game in which they were supposed to be a lot more competitive, guys. Now they got to step up in class even higher. It's going to be a long day. We all know how much Nick Saban likes being ex-assistant coaches. Jimbo Fisher, this is going to be even sweeter for Nick, guys. Jimbo Fisher is no different. Don't overthink this contest, guys. I'm going to come back to that, put a pin in it. A&M doesn't belong in the same field as Bama. The Crimson Tide need to keep their foot on the gas to retain their number one ranking. And one more factor that prompts me to side with Bama here. The Aggies bested the Tide last year at home. Saban and his boys did not forget that they had this game circled since the schedule came out. They will open up a big can of whoop-ass. I said ass again, Chris, of whoop-ass here. A&M, 1-5 ATS, the last 6 on the road. Bama, 17-5 against them, the last 22 at home. Don't be afraid to lay the wood here. I'm going to tell you right now, because A&M, they ain't no Paul Bunyan. They can't chop that wood. Roll Tide, guys. Roll Tide, roll Tide, roll Tide. I know our producer, Chris, he's lowering the volume because I got reverberation and echo in background and static. I'm excited about this. This may make it as a damn premium play. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm unloading on it after the show today. This line is going to move, so get it out now. Guys, I'm winded. I need some mouth to mouth. Where's our producer, Chris? Chris, you're the best producer in the business. Come over. Give me some mouth to mouth. Guys, listen to me. 2 more roundtable games. I want to tell you, I always talk. I like to brag and boast about our cappers at Sportsmemo. I've been doing this professionally, documented on websites and with companies for over 20-some-odd years here in Vegas. I've never worked with a better collection of cappers anywhere than at Sportsmemo. And I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I am so honored to share a panel with Dan Kaiser. I knew about Dan for quite a while before he came over to Sportsmemo. He hit the ground running. He's all over the leaderboards. He is one of the sharpest minds in betting, period. But when it comes to college football, guys, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever met his equal. All right, he's going to tell you a few things he's excited about on the premium side that you can take advantage of over at Sportsmemo, and he's got a best bet free winner for you. Dan, it's all you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, and I'm glad to see you recovered from last week. And maybe I should get COVID because I don't think I've had that much energy when I'm 100% healthy. Good job, Joe. But coming off a 3-1 NFL Sunday, I hit a Monday night football play. I hit my college play last night. Got to play up on tonight's game and finalizing my card for the weekend. As you know, NHL starts tomorrow. NBA's right around the corner. College basketball in a month, so it's going to be a really busy time period coming up here for Sportsmemo and for Jesse and you and all the handicappers. So yeah, check out Sportsmemo, and there's plenty of stuff there for you. No matter what you like, what league you like to play. My best bet here, I'm looking at the Tennessee LSU Tiger game. Both teams have started out the season strong. Tennessee is 4-0 at this point in the season. LSU is 4-1 after dropping their first game of the season, but they won 4 in a row. Tennessee comes in. They after taking down a big kind of rivalry game for them last week against Florida, and LSU. They won last week 21-17 over Auburn. I wasn't that impressed with the win as a lot of people were, because I just don't have a lot of respect for Auburn's offense or defense. But looking at this game more in depth, Tennessee is scoring 48.5 points a game and averaging almost 560 yards a game, which is the third most points scored a game and the most yards averaged in the country at this point in the season. Hendon Hooker has been outstanding at quarterback. He's throwing for just under 370 yards, which is second most in the country. And they're not one-dimensional. They rush for almost 200 yards a game. So they're getting it both, they're getting it done both on the ground and through the air on the offense. Their defense is only giving up 19 points a game, which is the 29th least amount of points in the country. I look at this LSU team. Right now they're scoring 35.5 points a game and almost 450 yards. To be honest, I can't get that FSU game out of my head from the beginning of the season. I know they're playing better, but again, what they did to Auburn is not impressive. I think LSU is going to struggle slowing down this Tennessee team the way they are right now, and I just don't think they have enough offensively to score as quickly as Tennessee does. The line's -3. I'm going to go good old Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Sports fans, our good friend Dan Kaiser, a leaderboard fixture over at Sportsmemo, says, good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. He says it's a winner. He made a believer out of me. I know he made a believer out of you. After this show, go over to Sportsmemo. Take advantage of the best customer appreciation discounts in this business. Go follow Dan. You're going to follow him to the damn bank because he is a winner. Dan, great breakdown. We appreciate you. Man, I love sharing a panel with you. Your insights and your angles are just, I'm in awe. So thank you very much, guys. Go follow Dan. You're going to follow him to the bank. Our good buddy, Jesse Schule, guys. He's going to be batting cleanup on the Best Bet segment today. And I've got to tell you, I've been doing this a long time, and Jesse's been a leaderboard fixture for many, many, many years. Of course, Dan and I don't have the hair he has, but he has been, so we're a little jealous there. I'm going to tell you that. But any handicapper in this business would be jealous of Jesse's numbers right now. He is killing in both college and pro football. You've seen him wear the Mr. Perfect outfit a couple of weekends already this season, and he wears it well. I got to tell you, by the way, he had that outfit in his closet. We'll get into that another time. Anyway, guys, Jesse's going to tell you what he's excited about this upcoming weekend on the premium side, and he's got another free best bet for you. Jesse, it's all you, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I'm riding a 14-1 college football run heading into this weekend. I was 5-1 with college football last week. NFL's going pretty well, is pretty good as well. Combined over 80% for the season so far with college and pro football. Putting that in perspective, I believe they sent Tim Donaghy to federal prison for fixing NBA games, and he still wasn't even hitting 80% of his bets. So that's pretty hot. Anyways, my best bet today, Illinois. I'm looking at the Illinois Fighting Illini. They're back home after this big win over Wisconsin. And man, I watched that game from start to finish, and I was impressed with Illinois in that game. What I was most impressed about was they weren't a one-dimensional team just coming in running the ball. Their passing game looked pretty solid with Tommy DeVito, 167 yards on 18 of 24 passing. So you might look at that 167-yard total and say, well, that's not a lot. But when he's highly efficient like that, 18 of 24, it allows them to continue to move the sticks, continue pushing that run. And their defense was phenomenal. Of course, Chase Brown, 129 yards and a touchdown on 25 carries last week. And they're facing an Iowa team that just simply can't score. Now, Iowa's pretty good defensively, but last time I checked, you need to score points to win games. This Iowa team has played one road game so far. They won at Rutgers. They were outgained by almost 100 total yards in that game, 277 to 361. Rutgers had 20 first downs to Iowa's 15 first downs. But because Rutgers turned the ball over 3 times, Iowa got the victory. I don't think Iowa is going to be so fortunate here in Champaign I like Illinois to win this game easy.
My dear friends, Jesse Schule says Illinois to win this game easy. And they may call him the Iceman, but he's as hot as a firecracker. After the show, go follow Jesse. Whether it's a 3-day, a 7-day, a 30-day, I promise you, you dip your toe in the Jesse Schule pool, you'll be diving in afterwards. I promise you that. He'll make a believer out of you. Now, if it's all right with our producer, Chris, I don't want to throw anything off the cuff, but we have a lot of comments. I just if I could bring it to our guests, if that's all right. We have a good buddy, Raven Ron. He tunes into all of the Sportsmemo TV shows. He's one of the sweetest guys, and he really, the first family show he's on every morning. I don't know, this guy keeps hours like I do, like a meth cook. So he's up every morning at 8 a.m. with us, and he's always commenting. He's always so loving and supportive. He's got a big question. I'm going to put it up if it's okay. He'd like to know from our panel, any thoughts on the Texas-Oklahoma over-under? It is 65.5. If it's all right, Dan Kaiser, can you field this one first, please?
I could, but I'd probably just be guessing because I haven't broke this.
I'll take that one
or looked at it, so I'd rather not just throw anything out there.
I respect that, Dan. And by the way, guys, that's the kind of integrity you get from the cappers over at Sportsmemo. Rather than give you something they're half-assed about, they'd rather step away from it. And that's why I love the cappers at Sportsmemo. That's why we are unrivaled in this business, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, this crew of cappers were handpicked by the powers that be at Sportsmemo because not only do we win on a regular basis, the integrity you get. Dan, I respect that 100% as if you would have given out a strong play on it. Let's go to the body himself, Jesse. So, Jesse, any thoughts? Texas, Oklahoma, over, under 65.5 for our good buddy Raven Ron.
I do have a fairly strong opinion on this one. I'm not 100% sure I'm pretty sure that it's still up in the air if Dylan Gabriel is going to play for Oklahoma. I'm pretty confident that if it comes out a couple hours before game time that Gabriel's a go, that number is going to go up and the spread's going to go down on Texas. I think it's actually a positive either way. A banged up Dylan Gabriel at quarterback is good for the under, in my opinion, especially if you can get a couple more points or a point and a half. Let's say it goes up to 67 if they announce Gabriel's going to play. I like the under. I think Texas will be able to run the ball. I think if Texas knows what they're doing, they're going to want to run the ball and keep the ball out of that Oklahoma offense's hands. And I like the under. I think the way to play it though is wait, see if it gets bet up on the news that Gabriel may or may not play.
Great stuff, Raven Ron. I know Jesse Schule answered your question. We thank you, Jesse Schule. Guys, I'm going to step away from this one. You know, I don't do a ton of college football totals. I do if something catches my eye, but through a whole season, I might have 7 or 8 or 9 of them. I didn't have an opinion on it. I'm a lot stronger, so I stick with what I'm better at, which is the NFL totals, like that AFC total of the month going off tonight over at Sportsmemo on the Thursday night NFL game. So I'm stepping away from this. But, guys, you know, anytime you got a question or a comment from one of our cappers, fire away. We want to make sure you're happy, you know, because we wouldn't be here without you. Having said all that, guys, it's about time to take off. It's Thursday afternoon. I did realize something, guys, and I'm going to make Chris laugh. You know, I don't know about any of you guys out there, but I know they're very popular. We have the Google Home and the Alexa things in our house. My big, loud, obnoxious, pain in the butt voice did not set them off, but both Jesse's voice and Dan's voice. Apparently, Alexa likes Dan and Google likes Jesse because during their best bet summons, they both started talking. My wife had to go down the hall because she's just got home. She took my dad to a doctor. Anyway, she had to go run down the hall. She's I'm going to go get the Alexa, go get the Google. So, guys, I can't believe my voice didn't set off. Guys, you know, we want to thank you because without you, we wouldn't be here. But the way we show our appreciation is by the integrity you see from the cappers over at Sportsmemo and by the customer appreciation discounts you find. So after this show, go over to sportsmemo.com. The best customer appreciation is because we want you to go and follow Dan or Jesse or myself. But if not one of us aren't your cup of tea, you will find at least one great capper over at Sportsmemo that's tailor-made just for you. So having said all that, guys, wow, it's about time to take off. I have to go drink some tea because my voice is hoarse. Don't forget to tune in to all of Sportsmemo TV's amazing content. Hit that subscribe button to get a reminder. You don't want to miss any of our cappers, free winners, or betting insights. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Remember, increase your chances of making a profit. Follow the best collection of cappers anywhere on the planet here at Sportsmemo because we don't go gambling, guys. We go winning. My friends, it's time to take off. On behalf of Sportsmemo, Jesse, Dan, and me, Joe D'Amico, everyone out there, good luck and have a winning day.